The key to success on the field and in your backyard is a comprehensive game plan. So if you're building a fence or a deck this year, trust a Turkstra coach to design, quote, or order the right materials for your project. Visit a Turkstra Lumber near you to learn more.
From the Ticats Audio Network, this is the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker.
Welcome to the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker. The Ticats are back. Week 4 is in the past. A nice bye week, rested up. Coach, how was the bye week, man?
Bye week was awesome. It was good to get away, good to get refreshed. You never completely turn it off, as you're aware, Luke. But I think it came at a great time for us. And but there is that time when you're itching to get back. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. Is it mentally just as necessary to have that downtime as a coach as it is a player?
No doubt. And as much as we think we don't need it, quote unquote, we do. We're people, just like the players are people. And I think that it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're cutting your grass, you always are going to wake up at the same time. But I think I always like to say that you don't have to get up.
Yeah. Just lay low for a little while. That's good. Did you stay in the Hamilton area? Were you able to get away at all, or what was your go-to?
Yeah, no, I was able to just spend some time with the family. I had one daughter traveling in the States for basketball. Of course, we have one away at school. So Gina and myself and Rainer were there, and we're like a kite in the wind. You know, whatever was floating our way. There's a couple beautiful days there, and maybe jumped on the electric scooters a little bit, went around, and had some fun.
Oh man, the lime scooters or the birds or whatever, that is good stuff, man. That's the downfall of spending a week out west in Calgary for the years that we did that. I put 200 miles on some of those scooters out there.
Yeah, my credit card's still on file with that thing in Calgary.
I know. It really racked it up. It's like I don't know what it is, $1 every 5 minutes or something like that. But man, I know Calgary like the back of my hand from the Lime scooter trips out there. So good stuff. First day back on the field yesterday for a day zero. What was the energy of the team like?
Just how you would expect it to be, or I would expect it to be after a bye week. It felt like the day one of training camp, to be honest with you. Vibe was awesome.
Wow.
It was through the sky. We changed the way we practice up just a little bit, and not even exactly what we did, but the order in which we did things. And guys were fired up. You could feel it starting in the meeting rooms, and then you always want to see if it'll transfer out to the field. But we put them through probably a little bit tougher day zero than we have in the past. And they responded well on a super hot day.
What kind of change-up did you make as far as the layout of the practice? You switch up team periods? What does that look like? Yeah,
so we did a whole team circuit, to be honest with you. So there's just a huge benefit to quarterbacks, O-line, D-line. Everybody was involved in a circuit. We did a couple of no-huddles. As you know, we refer to it as the B group. A chance to let those guys feel included in practice, which, as you know, sometimes gets put on the back burner with the importance of the regular season, and they just be referred to as, a scout team and the look team and whatnot. But now they actually got to run our defense and fly around a little bit, so threw them a bone there and, simulated a couple of things areas that we feel like we need to work on, and then we were off the field. It was nice.
That's great. The 4 games under your belt. We've got 1 bye week down. How pleased are you or displeased are you with the health of your team? Is it about what you would expect being this far into the season?
Numbers-wise, I would say it's probably on par. Where we've been hit is probably definitely not on par. That would be more of the frustrating thing. It's an uncontrollable factor. There's nothing to complain about, just talking about reality, since you asked there. So I think numerically it's probably equal to the majority of football teams. It's just where you get hit is really what sometimes is a differential, or it's a different factor there. But other than that, shoot, it is what it is. We know where we're at. We know where we're going. We think there's some spots that we were depending on. We think we're getting healthy in, but ultimately, Luke, I get it. It's about winning, and I think we've done a lot of great things, to be honest with you. When you turn on the tape And then there's some areas that we got to do, and the number one thing there is obviously to finish.
Couple changes to the kicking room leading out of this bye week. What are you looking to see improved on the field from these roster changes in that kicking department?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I feel like Simon came in and kept us in football games. This is a performance-based business, and we know that. And I felt like Simon performed. I thought he did an outstanding job. The challenge is he's got the wrong flag next to his name, and that's the most honest way I can put it. Yeah. And we feel like we can, we need to be a little bit better in our kicking game, and the only way to do that is to make moves that are disappointing to some people or whatnot. But you can't stay pat. You can't stay the same. You got to be innovative, creative, and on the move. And that doesn't mean reckless. We felt like we had a good sample and kind of, liked where we were heading in our punting game. But when you're able to acquire a guy like Jon Ryan, who's done it at the top of the game and is experienced and won't be rattled by coming into a team that, optically is what it is. It's 0-4, but there's a lot of other things that he can look at and know that he's not walking into a quote-unquote 0-4 locker room or meeting room. Those type of things. That's just what the record is. And so, still got a lot of belief in Michael and Don Magala, but, we're going to go with an American kicker there. So basically, what I'm saying here is, we're going to have it's called a DA now, but what was formerly known as a DI. We're just going to have a swap there in the kicking game where we'll go with the Canadian or a national punter and an American kicker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the game inside of the game that's unique to the CFL when it comes to having to mind the flags by everybody's name. Really unique to our league.
Yes.
Yeah. Ryan's interview he's positive. He seems like a guy who can join a locker room and be a net positive pretty quickly. So interested to see how that progresses through the season. And also in that interview on the Ticats today with Louis Butko, Dane was interviewed, and Dane said something interesting. He mentioned the word streamlining coming out of the bye week. And, of course, everybody has their own perspective as to what's going to change, and not to say that's a word that he got from you, but it is an interesting word. He said maybe you can expect some streamlining coming out, meaning, I guess, kind of boiling it down to kind of what we do best and kind of maybe a little bit of simplification. Does that resonate with what you're hoping to see from your team coming into week 5 here?
Well, I think, that's a word that he would choose there, and I wouldn't disagree with him. I would say that we are looking for a higher rate of execution when it matters. We have that. I can show you numerous samples of great execution, and then when it matters or when we need it, we've been really average at that. And that's really what's been the result of the record the way that it is. But the focus isn't on the record, just like it wouldn't be if it was 4-0. And you've been on part of those streaks where we were on fire. And you might know that there is one slide that might show where it is, and we might show ourselves summiting up a mountain or something. But the focus was always on the next meeting and the next practice. And so it's no different because the record right now is flipped upside down. Like, to focus on the record if you're undefeated or yet to win is counterproductive to what we believe.
Yeah. Coach, from a player's perspective, with you as a head coach, you're not going to micromanage a locker room. I never found that to be your method. You never felt over controlled from the coaching staff with an Orlondo Steinauer football team. Within the coaches' room, though, and you're the coach of the coaches, is it the same philosophy? Are you letting the Tommy Condells, Mark Washingtons, Craig Butlers do their job? Or in a bye week like this, as you're prepping and getting ready to change the direction of the season, is there an aspect of your job that is, coaching the coaches and sort of instilling your maybe philosophy into each of those sides of the football?
Yeah, my job is to, allow them. If I feel like I can do their job, then they shouldn't be here, right? And so my job is to oversee that and chime in where I feel like things could be better. And, I always take their input. And, we've had conversations with all the coordinators during the bye week and, asked them their thoughts of where we're at, where we're going, how we're going to get there. and those sorts of things. And then I kind of, gave them my viewpoint of where we're at, where we're going and how we're going to get there. And you would think what you find most times when you surround yourself with people, especially when you hire them, you've already talked about these sort of things of the type of offense, defense, special teams that you aspire to be. But then, as you know from being in our locker room, there's this uncontrollable factor that's inevitable called adversity. And it comes in all different shapes, sizes, and forms, whether it's injuries, losses, those type of things. So if you want me to, with no pun intended here, if you want me to streamline my answer, is that I know I'm not going to micromanage the coaches. I'm always coaching the coaches, right? We have these type of interactions weekly. I'm watching film, I'm giving input, but ultimately, they're paid to do a job, and I'm there to support them.
Ottawa is coming to Tim Hortons Field. Another team that's 0-4. They've had their struggles with injuries. Obviously, unfortunately, Jeremiah Mazzoli took a really difficult, hard tackle against Sask. That was hard to watch, though they say we'll maybe see Jeremiah more this season. But Ottawa's coming in. They're also struggling. What are they doing well right now? What are you preparing for against Ottawa?
Well, I think their defense is keeping them in football games. We're similar in that way. I think our defense is doing a good job of keeping us in games. Obviously, the offense carried us quite a bit in the Calgary game, early on. So I see, and they're always solid on special teams, Luke. You know that. You turn the tape on, and it doesn't really matter who their personnel is for some reason. Then they play hard. They're creative. I would expect the unexpected from them in special teams, if you would. And, obviously they're not they have weapons on offense that depending on the game you watch, you can see that. And so I think they're a team that's probably better than their record, as the saying goes. But, at the end of the day, as you know, Luke, our focus remains 90% on ourselves. And what we do, we feel like at times we've been our own worst enemy. And, hey, credit the other teams. They've won the game, but there's things that we feel like we've done to contribute to those wins for those other teams also.
Sure. Yeah, well, two teams that are maybe better than their records suggest, and that'll be a great one to see this Saturday night at Tim Hortons Field with an earlier kickoff this week. Coach, it's been a pleasure. Glad we're back in action here, moving into the middle part of the season. And Ticat fans and listeners, you'll be able to catch the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker every week, usually right around the start of the practice week as we're leading into each game to get more insight from Coach O. The Coach O is presented by Turkstra Lumber. Do it yourself does not mean do it alone. So visit TurkstraLumber.com to learn more about each of your home renovating projects. Coach, best of luck with the remainder of the prep week, and we'll see you up there on Saturday.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Another episode of the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker is in the books. Let us know your thoughts. Email us at gameday@ticats.ca. Coach O and Luke are back next week to discuss the latest from the locker room. Subscribe to the Ticats Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.